Hello. So as we begin to investigate building an intervention system for behavior, engagement, and attendance, we want to take a look at an example of how we might use attendance to select the right intervention for students who are struggling in that area. As you can see from the flowchart that we're going to walk through, there are 4 pink sections, which means there are 4 standard protocol interventions that we're going to discuss and teach in this module around attendance. This doesn't necessarily mean that students will be in a small group attendance. For attendance, we might have just students receiving these services, but the idea behind a standard protocol around them is that the same procedures can be applied when students are struggling with attendance in these 4 different ways. So the first thing we'll take a look at is something we're real familiar with, which is just you as a district or school developing an intervention matrix around intervention for attendance. The guidance here is pretty standard, so we want to look for and identify students who have missed more than 10% of school days, the cumulative days in the year, or more than 2 absences in the first 20 days. So you can use the Universal Screening System tool that's linked below this document, that Excel spreadsheet, to help with that, or you may have another system to identify students here. But the idea is that you can see in this next bullet is that we would look at that information monthly to make decisions around students, so that regular intervals. We would then kind of begin that supplemental intervention matching as necessary, but we want to make sure that if we have more than 20% of our students who aren't meeting our attendance standards, that we would always go back and revise and refine those core strategies around attendance. So when we begin supplemental intervention matching, essentially what we're going to do is a cursory look at a function of the behavior of why students are missing school. So the first question we want to ask and answer is, for students who are not meeting that threshold or who are missing more than 10% of school days, are there family factors that may be causing that attendance problem? And if the answer to that is yes, we come to our first sort of standard protocol, which would be a personalized family outreach. So we'll learn more about that in the module, but that may be a set of letters or a home visit or a phone call, but a systematic way that we have some family outreach to address that if it's a family concern. If we decide that family factors are not the issue, then we want to have our next question answered, which is, does the student have a connection and a relationship with school staff? If the answer there is no, then that leads us to our next standard intervention, which is either check in and check out if you have that at your school, or an adult mentor, but some way to build relationships with a staff member so that students value and have a good school experience. If we've ruled out family factors and we've ruled out lack of adult relationship with school staff for the reason why students are missing more than 10% of days, then our next question is, do the students have chronic physical or mental health concerns that are causing them to miss school? If we come to an answer of no to that question, then one of the things that we may consider as a standard protocol or a standard intervention is an attendance contract or a award for improvement in the behavior of attending school. And if we come to the answer of yes, that the student is missing school due to physical or mental health concerns, we want to consider a wraparound or specialized support plan for those students. So that is just a quick introduction to how to match students to the right intervention when we have concerns around the behavior of attending school or school attendance. And you'll learn more about the standard interventions and digging deeper into that in Module 2.4.